Alright, in this tutorial I'm going to take you through some of the basics of the Imovie interface. We won't get into any real details here, just want to show you what things look like and kind of familiarize you with the interface before we get into some actual tutorials. In the upper left of our interface here we have what's called the event library, and this is where the raw footage comes into your computer from a memory card, a camera, or other movie files that you import. It is then sorted by date, as you can see here, Monday, May 16th, and then we go into June 6th, etc. here. So it's all sorted by date of the import or when it was shot. Down below we have a project library, and this is where the projects are actually stored that we work on. And to select one, you just double click and it opens that project. Now by default, usually this program will open up with those two switched, with the project library on top and the event library on the bottom. However, I have you do it this way because when we get into using Final Cut Pro is set up like this. So to make that transition a little easier, we'll just do it the way Final Cut Pro does it. Continuing through some of our tools and things on this initial home screen here, we have an iTunes button. This allows us to look at our iTunes library and select songs to drag into our project. The next tab is the iPhoto tab, and I would recommend any photos that you want to bring into your project that you import into iPhoto just for simplicity. There's other ways to do it, but this just makes life a little easier when you're bringing photos into iMovie. So again, import photos to the computer using iPhoto. The next button over is for text, and this one is where we use these various formats here, or themes, to set up titles and credits and things like that in our video. We'll cover these in upcoming tutorials. Next button over is the transition button, and we have a variety of transitions that we can use between clips or photos on our project, and those are pretty easy to work with. We'll show you that in an upcoming tutorial as well. You'll notice in the upper right, this is displaying the video that's down in our project timeline so that you can watch it as you do your editing. We have a crop tool available here that we can select a clip then to crop. We'll cover that as well. We can do a voiceover on our project, and you can see by clicking on that we pop up a recording window. We have a keyword tool, which is kind of handy for especially larger projects. What that does is that allows you to assign a keyword to some clips so that you can sort them and make them easier to find. For instance, if I was doing a football game, I could use a keyword like offense and have all the clips sorted by offense and defense. So that's a handy tool on larger projects. A reject tool, that means we don't want that clip, so it rejects that clip. We have a favorites tool here where we can mark some clips in our event library as favorites, and we can unmark some of those clips as well. The edit tool will allow us to split clips and the like down below in our timeline. And this is just our move tool. All the way over to the left is our camera import icon. We'll talk about that in more detail later. And I believe at this time that's about all I want to cover. I don't want to get into anything in too much detail. We'll cover that in some upcoming tutorials that cover things more specifically. Thank you, and I'll be seeing you in the next tutorial.